Your first day of ellipses was graphing. This is your second day. This was the homework I gave you, but we're not going to do all of it because some of it's just too difficult to understand without being in the classroom together. So I need you to do these 3 problems on the front and then the last 2 on the back. So just 5 problems for homework today. The first couple, these 2 are graphed. This one's not, but you might want to draw a rough sketch of the graph. That'll best help you. You're going to be writing the equations, similar to what you did on the graphs yesterday, just reverse. And then the bottom ones, they're going to describe to you some information like the center and the lengths of the major and minor axes, and then you're writing the equation. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, imagine we had an ellipse like this. Now all of your equations, I don't know if you noticed from yesterday, look like 2 fractions equaling 1. So sometimes it's best to just go ahead and start with that on all 5 of your problems. Just make a big, 2 big fraction bars. There's always a plus sign and an equals 1. Okay, on the top is where you will put the center. So do you notice over here the center is at 3, -2. Okay, 3 is your x, but remember we changed these, so in this parenthesis it'll be x minus 3, but then we square it. That's always how it looks. Over here the -2 is your y, change that to y plus 2. Also square it. Okay, so whether it's graphed or like on the last 2 problems on homework where they tell you the center, just take that information, put it right there. If they say, like on one of them, it says the center's at the origin, then you're just going to put x squared, y squared. Okay, now these bottom 2 numbers are the lengths of the distance, like the radii, if you want to call it that, but then you have to square it. So going x, that's side to side, you notice this is 3 long, but that means here you're putting a 9. Okay, then your y, so that's your measurement up and down, count the number of boxes you have there. Okay, 6 boxes going up and down, but I will square that, that would be 36. Okay, so that'll help you to do the first 3. Now the bottom 2 get a little bit confusing because they talk about major and minor axis. They also say something about vertical and horizontal. Hopefully that's not too bad. So like here, if I said that the vertical major was 18, then I'm talking about up and down. Kind of like here, this is up and down. Here's where you have to be careful. On those bottom 2, when they give you those numbers, that is the whole distance. So like on here, if I were to tell you the vertical major, that would really be 12 because this is 6 and this is 6. That would have a vertical major of 12. Okay, so in order to go from that information to this equation, you'd have to think, okay, if the whole thing is 12, then half of it is 6, and then I square that, and because it's vertical, it's my y. Now, major is because that's the longest. So then these would be like the minor in this problem. And again, since that's 3, but this is 3 over here, if they were to tell you that the minor length, they would say the minor axis on this one, they would call that 6 total. And so again, you'd have to say half of 6 is 3, I square that, I get 9. Okay, so let's do one of those problems like the last 2. They'll give you the center. They're going to say either horizontal or vertical, so that tells you x or y, and your major length and your minor length. So start with one of these fractions right off the bat. We have 2 fraction bars, one for x, one for y, and it equals 1, and again it's plus. So your center, change those. -5 would really be x plus 5. +4 would really be y minus 4. And again, we square those. It's always squared. Now, horizontal, this would be referring to the x's. They say vertical, that's y's. Now, 14, remember like I showed you on these, That's the whole distance. So if the whole distance is 14, that means like the radius would be 7, and then I square 7 to get 49. Same thing on the minor. It's going to be this one this time around. Since the major was the x, the minor has to be the y. The whole thing's 6, then that means the radii is 3. It's kind of like they're giving you a diameter. Maybe think of it that way. So the radius is 3, square that, that's 9. And that would be your answer. That's what you're given each time, is just the equation of the ellipse.